Jerrod, Baugh, and Coach. Boy, what a great crowd we have here. Welcome those watching on YouTube and there's listening on Q94. Appreciate everyone coming out to Sundown. Big victory for the Bearcats last Friday night over Zachary, 21-17, and it goes through. You look at it, I go back to 2019, then you look at the history that we've had. Does that come into play? Because like some people are like, well, they're going to be due. I know we talked a lot about it on the radio. Are they due? Do you look back? Do you talk about, hey, we beat these guys before? It's just how difficult it is to have the same opponent. It seems like every year.
Well, I think that there's a certain number of teams that if you go far enough in the playoffs, you probably expect to see them at some point, and Zachary certainly is one of those. They've got a history of being really good for a really long time, and I don't know when you feel like anybody's due, but I don't know what year that you add that up to where you say like, well, after 4 years they're due, or 3 or 2 or 5. I just look at it on a year by year basis. I know it does make it to where there's a certain point where you feel like a team is going to be that's motivation to get out and beat you. And then there's a point, to me, it becomes a psychological deal to where, man, can we ever beat this team? And I think that's why you see some of that stuff turn into long periods of time where one team can't beat a certain other team.
And you're talking to a head coach, Jerrod, Baugh. Coach, you look at it for the second straight week, you go in down at the half, and really – I know you say everybody talk about, are there halftime adjustments, or do you go in there and just say, hey, we need to do this, but we need to do it better? Like, what is your message at halftime? Because it seems like the past 2 weeks we've been a different team in the second half than the first half.
Yeah, I know most of the time that everybody thinks that we go in and make all these adjustments and we're fixing to change what it is that we're doing, and that's not ever really the case. If you have to scrape your whole game plan at halftime and reboot, I'm not sure how good a job you did game planning to start with. And, there are some modifications that take place. And, the luxury that we have nowadays that coaches a long time ago didn't have is being able to watch video during the ball games. I mean, so there's a lot of subtle adjustments that are being made on the sidelines, during the game, during the first half, as coaches watch video, and then you can sit down. Especially, it's nice playing all these playoff games at home. We can go into the field house. The coaches sit in there and watch video, and then go and translate whatever it is that needs to happen to the kids. And sometimes it's that part of it, and then in the Southside game, it was some verbal motivation that needed to be had, and so we did some verbal motivation, and so it was really just get our motor running then. So there's different circumstances that call for different things, and so I think our coaches do a really good job of making modifications to our game plan as the game goes along, and certainly at halftime whenever we have a little more time.
I thought one of the bigger plays was a turnover on downs that Zachary made a decision not to kick a field goal. How much did that surprise you in the early going part of the game that they opted not to attempt a field goal?
Well, you may feel like he's like me, and I don't like kickers. So
that's exactly where I was going. So, hate to interrupt you,
yeah. But. Yeah, I think he felt like probably going into the game that they were going to need to score some points. I think I probably would have felt the same way early on in the ball game and leaned more towards going for it if it lended itself to that. So I don't feel like I was surprised that they did, but the thing that's disappointing on their end of it and really deflating is the long drive that they had to eat up almost 9 minutes off the clock, and then you come out and you didn't score any points. That's really a downer for your football team, that you feel like you had a very productive drive and you didn't get anything out of it. And so I think maybe motivationally for their team, it would have been good to come out of there with a few points anyway.
I went back and watched. You talk about watching video. Some media people that you often talk about go back and watch video as well. I went back and saw David Brewerton, the head coach of Zachary, and in 2019 they left here. Do you remember what the final score was?
We lost by 8. I don't remember exactly. It was 35-27 maybe.
And where was the ball when the game ended?
It was on the 1 yard line on the south end of the field down there on the left hash.
You know, and I remember that game well, and the disappointment that you have from that. And I know that I don't know if you go back and watch games like that or watch tapes with a video, but one of the quotes he had, and I think it's been very you come to fruition. He left the field that night and said that Ruston's going to be a force to be reckoned with way back in 2019. And I just wonder, like, do you guys have, you look at these rivalries building up. I consider a rivalry when you play a team so many years in a row in the playoff. Do you guys have any conversation or communication whatsoever?
We do. In fact, you just reminded me. He called me yesterday, and I hadn't returned his call, and I need to call him back. But we talk periodically about different things. I think he was very complimentary of me and a lot of the radio shows that he talked to people. And he did. He told me that he felt like after that ball game that we were a football program that he was going to have to worry about for some years. And the thing is I think we went in at halftime then, and it may have been 28-0 or something at the half, maybe 28-7, and we were getting taken to the woodshed and went in at halftime, made all those adjustments that you're talking about. And really it was being scared of who it was we were playing is what it amounted to. And our kids came out and competed, and I thought we had a chance. I really felt like if we could have poked that ball in at the end of the game and make a 2-point conversion, we'd had an opportunity to win it.
I think you would have. It's funny. I went back and watched the coaches' shows just looking for something for motivation or maybe to use during the broadcast, and there was nothing. Probably one of the more enjoyable coaches shows that I watch other than this one and I am glad to see that I'm not the only person you don't return calls to, so glad to see that Coach Brewerton has that as well. But you go through it very complimentary. You look at it, you come out of this game 21-17 victors. But I'm going to go through that last series when Gray scores a touchdown off to the left. The mindset, like I was watching, I kept waiting for Zachary to call that last time out, and they never did. Really, that was a surprise to me.
Yeah, there's a couple of different views about that, and I felt like maybe the year before, I can't remember if it was the year before or 2 years ago, where if I were on his sideline, I probably would have used a timeout. And, I guess there's a feeling that you get that maybe it's hopeless at that point, but I always lean towards, I'm going to use everything I've got to try to figure out a way, and maybe something will happen for us to win the ball game. I know probably had to use this timeout. I mean, we needed to take one more snap and take a knee, but I probably would have went ahead and used it.
I thought they would have had the ball with about 12 seconds left, and all I could think about was pass interference or all of these things. Now, one thing unique, I do want to talk to you. I missed the entire first quarter. I don't know if you were aware of that or not, but the video board went down, and I wondered, what was your thought? Like Browns broke something, or what was the thought, or did you even look up and notice that it was off?
I did, and it was about like one of those verbal motivational speeches at halftime. I did it in my mind about what it is you had going on up there that we couldn't get the video board on. We spend all this time doing all of those things, and y'all run it all day, and it's on all day, and I see it. I mean, we're doing different stuff, and you're testing it and all of that stuff, and then when the game starts, it's off. And I couldn't figure out why in the world we have all of that stuff going during the day, and we're testing it, and then all of a sudden it was off. So I don't know. Maybe you can explain that.
Well, I can. It's kind of like you. We were down both times at half in the past two games, so I can have a bad first quarter as well. Everybody has their Ash moment, okay?
You probably needed a halftime speech.
So I did need a halftime speech. I will tell you that, but it's funny that everything did work great, and then all of a sudden I look over, we're going live on the radio, Q94. Kyle says, welcome in. Nick Brown's going to give you the starting lineup presented by. And then I looked up, and the video board was black, and I looked over and I said, hey, we need to put a graphic up. And he says, I can't. And I said, what? He said, I can't put it up. So I went over, called the company, went through everything, and they said, oh, you've got it hooked up right. So we said, reboot it. But I will tell you, those computers are 2019, so it is time to replace those. If you're watching this video and like to donate to the Bearcat Nation Network, that would be a great time to do it. But it is amazing.
Well, and our principal's here, so he could probably take care of that for us.
Absolutely. But I will tell you, those things can be a distraction. And so the kids worked through it, and we got that back up. But I will tell you, in a good note, I did text our superintendent last Monday, and I let him know that the computers were 6 years old and that we need to replace them soon. So he thought I did that on purpose just to get new computers. But you looked at it, what are the rules? Like, because I was thinking about, but because you have the clock on the play clock, which was genius of you. A lot of people don't do that. You had the foresight to put them there. So really, legality, we could have just continued playing the game like we did.
Yeah, you don't really have to have anything but the game clock up there, and so we could have just played with the 25, 40-second clocks and the game clock, and we'd have been fine. And I guess 21-17, you could have kept score on your fingers and toes and been fine.
We're going to take
till we got to 21.
Absolutely. We're going to take our first break here. Listening to Ruston Bearcats Live with head coach Jerrod Baugh, live from the Sundown Tavern. We'll be right back after this break.
Step into the winner's circle with a John Deere tractor from Goldman Equipment. Shop North and Central Louisiana's largest John Deere dealer, Goldman Equipment. We're not just in your field, we're in your backyard. Thank you for calling Goldman Equipment. How can I help you?
Louisiana National Bank is the official bank of Ruston High Athletics. As a proud community partner and supporter of local education, we're excited to cheer on the Bearcats. Experience uncommon banking today at Louisiana National Bank. To learn more, visit ln.bank.
Need extra space? Whether you're moving, downsizing, or just clearing the clutter, Premier Storage is here to help. Customers can easily check in and receive their lock from the kiosk anytime, day or night, or online at premierstorageruston.com. Gated access and on-site security features so you can store with confidence. Premier Storage, safe, secure, close to home. Reserve your unit today.
Headquartered in Ruston, Louisiana, Hunt Forest Products manufactures a variety of plywood lumber and other specialty wood products to meet a wide variety of building and manufacturing needs. Hunt Forest Products is family-owned and operated, practices sustainable forestry, and provides more than 400 Louisiana jobs. Hunt Forest Products is a proud supporter of the Bearcat football program.
Firmly founded in 1936, Pierce Lumber has been Ruston's hometown tradition for nearly 90 years. As your local Ace Hardware dealer, we're your headquarters for Bearcat tailgates, with Big Green Eggs, Traeger grills, Turtle Box speakers, Yeti coolers, meat church and hardcore carnivore seasonings, along with all the cooking gear you need to keep the grill hot and the drinks ice cold. From kickoff to the final whistle, we've got everything you need to make game day unforgettable. Pierce Lumber, friendly service, quality products, and proud supporters of the Bearcats.
When on a journey towards the best dentistry with exceptional care, you need travel no further than the heart of Ruston. There you will find the team behind Johnston & Murphy Dental Care. It's a goal built on the tradition of excellence, established more than 60 years ago, a legacy in superior dental care. It's a journey worth taking and one we're proud to make with you. Come experience the best dentistry and exceptional customer service. Johnston & Murphy Dental Care, where every smile has a story.
To Ruston Bearcats Live, Nick Brown along with head coach Jerrod Baugh and Coach Bearcats making their fourth appearance in the row to the Dome, playing for the state championship, but it does not get old.
No, it definitely doesn't get old, and it always seems like, whenever it rolls around, it's brand new in the way of, I felt like I said, surely I'll be prepared for all of the things that hit you during the week of that, and as it started getting closer to it, I found out that I guess you never really get completely prepared for all of the things that happen during the week as far as, you're getting interviewed and kids are getting interviewed and all the things you got to send all these people to make that happen. And, I do have to remind myself fairly frequently that, it's better to have to be fooling with all of those things than not. I mean, because we have, previous to these 4 trips, we have gotten beat in the 3rd round for a bunch of years, and it progressively gets worse as the playoff goes. But as soon as you get beat, like, there ain't nobody coming around. And so it's nice to have all those things to do.
Well, I am not, to quote Toby Nations for once, I am not superstitious, but I am stitious. So I did not make, I did not fill out the credentials for the Bearcat Nation Network until we had won the contest over Zachary, and you go through. But I will tell you this. When we were seated number 1, I did make my hotel reservations, and I did, you can always make that reservation. You can make it for a lower amount, or you can make it for a higher amount so that you can cancel it. Well, I am very frugal, so I made it for the lowest account. So I could not cancel my reservations with that. But you look at this run now, the 4th straight year. You talk about it doesn't get old, and I know that you never do this, so I will. I think this has absolutely been your best coaching job. And I know that you always say, you media people say we lost this, we lost that. But you did have to plug in pieces, and you go through, and each team has their different identity. But I really look back, where did you think, and you're going to say the first practice, when did you think this team had a shot to make a run to the Dome?
Well, you're wrong about that, because if you ask me, the first practice every year is I'll talk about how horrible we are, and it doesn't make any difference about what I feel like our ceiling is. I do feel like there's always a long way to go. There's a lot of work to do to get to where it is that we are now, with an opportunity to play for a state championship. So, no, I'm never really one to ask early on, particularly, during spring football, summer, fall camp, all of that kind of stuff. I'm the last one you want to ask about a state championship, because, I'm going to tell you that we're going to be last in the district, may not win a game if we don't get things straightened out. And I think we're always, our coaching staff does a good job of always trying to scrutinize what it is that we need to do to make our football team better. And, I don't think we sell our kids short. That's not what I'm doing. But we do realize that to stay where it is we are now, there's always a lot of work to do and get done. There's probably, you can count on less than one hand the times that I've come home and said, like, hey, you know what, we're pretty good. If you hear that come out of my mouth at all, that I feel like our football team is pretty good, then you probably ought to look out, because I don't know that it's happened, but maybe once that's taken place.
I don't recall it ever happening, but I want to look through.
I probably didn't tell you, because then you put it on the radio.
That is correct. That is correct. I look over the schedule, and you look through this with the open up with Acadiana with 49-7. You talk about the media this, the media that. And when you say that, you really say that to me, because I will tell you, and I don't mind that when I say that, because I looked at this schedule, because you schedule everybody but Alabama, and I'm glad you don't, because I do not want to go to Tuscaloosa. But anyway, when I looked at that schedule, I said, you know what, you're looking at that as, I'm saying, man, 6-4, 4-6 may be the basement, 6-4, 7-3 is the ceiling, and you go through. When you look at that gauntlet of a schedule, but your schedule that we go through, and everybody questions why you're going there, there are no cupcakes on there. It is to prepare you, and also it contributes to an overall number 1 seed.
Yeah, and I guess that's why you didn't book your rooms till later on, whenever you thought that's how it was going to go early on in the season. I'll tell you, to me, there's no way to get prepared to know what it is that you're going to look at if you're not playing the level of competition that you need to play at. I've always felt like that, for your kids to feel like, to get out and actually like play with the people that you're going to have to play, the level of competition that you're going to have to be at to play for a state championship. How else are you going to know where it is you need to get unless you feel what that feels like? And there's been some some growth that's had to take place. And, I got asked the other day about who I felt like the most important class was that has come through. And the thing is like there's some people that bought into what it is that I was selling as the head coach that has not been a part of any of this state championship stuff that started all of this. And the thing is that they bought into what it is that we needed to do to get to that level, in which that in turn turned into some like lopsided football games at times. I mean, we went down to Rummel and on a Saturday afternoon, and it was hot, and they were really good, and we got our butts tore up. And I think that was a kind of a growing moment for our football program to know what it was like at that time whenever those guys were a really good football team to see, I mean, what is it going to feel like? What level is it that we've got to get to get to where it is we're going? And so, I don't believe that one class is more important than the other. It's the thing is those kids previously to the championship groups were willing to put in the work that was required to try to get us to that level. And so, there's a lot of people to appreciate, and I know everybody wants to slap the people on the back that are going to the state championship and winning state championships, but it took all of those kids through the years to listen to me and listen to the coaches about what we felt like it was we needed to be doing in order to get to a state championship. And I think it's pretty special for all of those kids. And I told them at that time that, it might not be anything that you're going to actually physically be a part of, but you're a part of it because you're a part of this program, and you'll always be a part of the program, and you bought into what it is that we were trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking to head coach Jerrod Baugh, I saw some of the players I went through, and you can see the pride. They're still taking pride in the program, whether they're working at Super One, Wendy's, wherever it may be. They're taking pride in the program. I want to look back at this year's schedule, and you go through, like there's times where you go back and say, boy, if I could do that one over again, or if I had a do-over. I think the one to me, the Stephenville game over at Longview, that was one, but like, is there any, like, you go back and say, okay, if I'd go back again, I'd want to play them again, I think we would do things differently, or only 2 losses during the regular season, or you don't do that at all?
Really, it really, after that ball game, it really wanted to make me put them back on the schedule again, but I didn't want to play another neutral site ball game. Those guys are still playing. They'll be in the semifinals this week. And, really I wish we could have circled back around on those guys in the playoffs and played them again. I just didn't feel like not only did we didn't play very well, but we didn't have everybody out there that we needed, and had some unfortunate things happen the week of the game and then during the game that kind of left us shorthanded. And, they take a lot of pride in it. Somebody sent me something the other day, a Texas coach sent me something the other day about that they had made the comment that they felt like that when they beat us, that was going to put them over the hump to be able to get to the state championship over there. So, I think that we're very well recognized in a lot of places, and I would like a redo probably on that one for this year.
Well, I have a theory on that one because going to all these games, we beat them last year, and they only had 2 losses last year to us, and then one in the playoffs right before the state championship. And I think that we got into not a rut, so to speak, but it came out, and it really meant more to Stephenville that night because, over at Longview, it's like they had everybody, all these homemade shakers, like from the get-go, because like they only lost 2 games last year, and they really wanted to redeem themselves versus the Ruston Bearcats.
They did, and that was, one thing me and their head coach talked about. That was we had a mark on us, especially after we went to the state championship over here. They felt like that was a measuring stick for them on how it is they were at that time of the season, and whenever they were able to beat us, I think that gave them some momentum, and it served them well, and they are a good football team. And I'm not saying if we played them again in the playoffs that it would go differently, but I really feel like it would.
Oh, I think it would be. Now I want to move to that one with Ash, and I can make the big deal about, wow, they have open enrollment. They're going to get all these players and all of this thing. Really break down the Ash game for us.
Well, I don't really feel like we played our best football game against them. We got in a bind defensively with what it is that they were able to do. Excuse me. And, I mean, they had a really good game plan, and we weren't able to counter that. We figured out a lot about our personnel during that time. The thing is, you know, to me, we lost that ball game, but we figured out a lot about our football team during that game. And if you make modifications to your football team based off of like what things are transpiring during the game, and you're not just chalking it up to like, hey, they're better than us, and we still need to keep doing what it is we're doing. I feel like we evaluate all of those things. We made some modifications to what it is we were doing defensively and lining up certain ways and that kind of thing, and who's in the game and who needs to be in the game under these circumstances. And at the end of the day, like, Ash is a really good football team. I think, you know, I mean, it's unfortunate, I think, that they got put out of the playoffs last week. And but, you know, anybody could have beaten anybody during that time during the district run. And I kept telling everybody, you know, Washita kept getting beat by everybody during that district run by a score. And I kept saying, to me, it didn't make any difference who won or lost those ball games if they stayed competitive throughout the district and you came out of that healthy and you could keep your team intact and keep them knowing that, like, once we leave week 10 and you get in the playoffs, you can get on a roll, and then you can end up like, who knows what's going to happen. And I think Benji Lewis did a really good job with his team. I mean, there ain't a whole lot of coaches can hold your team together, losing 4 in a row and still staying positive to try to get into the playoffs, and you still keep singing the same song that hey, like, we're okay. We're about one possession away from being able to win these ball games, and he's turned it into wins during the playoff stretch, and they're playing really good.
I think that is a credit to Benji and what a great job he has done, because you're right, keeping that together, because a lot of times people say, you know what, we've lost 4 in a row, I'm going to quit. And bottom line is, you look at a 7-point loss to Ruston. The West Monroe score really surprised me, but they had the lead late in that one. Then the Neville game, which they redeemed, and then the Ash game is when I knew when we played them they could be a force to be reckoned with if he could keep them together, and he has been able to do that. We're going to break that down. We come back after this break. You listen to Ruston Bearcats Live with head coach Jerrod Baugh, live from the Sundown Tavern. We'll be right back after this break.
Holland Real Estate Group has been serving the commercial real estate needs in Louisiana for over 30 years.
Because your business means everything to you, we know the importance of proper planning and location management. With our extensive knowledge of the area, we're able to create individualized solutions for our clients. We work closely with our community leaders to understand growth in the area. Ensuring successful win-win relationships for our clients is what we do best.
Headquartered in Ruston, Louisiana, HGA is a full-service project management and engineering services firm providing professional services to clients throughout the U.S. and overseas. HGA builds long-term client relationships by listening to clients, leveraging the experience of its professional team, and delivering on its commitments. HGA is a proud supporter of the Bearcat football program.
Firmly founded in 1936, Pierce Lumber has been your go-to for quality building parts in Ruston and North Louisiana. Located on 1032 Burgessville Road, we carry tools from DeWalt, Milwaukee, Senco, and Ego Power Tools. We're your home for locally sourced lumber and quality building parts. As well as being your local supplier for Benjamin Moore Paint, we offer delivery of our products from our door to yours. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and remember, if you're making it, make it with Pierce Lumber.
Hi, I'm Buddy Turja. And I'm Greg Turja. At Turja's Rentals, we believe in the power of community. Supporting our local sports and businesses isn't just important, it's essential.
For the last 41 years, you've stood by us, and we're proud to stand by you. Your support is what fuels our commitment to Ruston and Lincoln Parish.
So let's rally together this season and show our Bearcats the support they deserve.
And from all of us at Turja's Rentals, good luck this season, Bearcats.
And hey, enjoy the game.
Like life, injury and sport go hand in hand. When injury has you sidelined, there's one name above the rest. That's Johnson Physical Therapy.
Down it. Is it more difficult? You'll always say this, like it's tough to beat a team the second time and you go through now, but you look at it, how tough our district is. It enables that and prepares the Ouachita team that can go in with one district win and then go out on a roll in the playoffs. But how tough is it to play a team? You knew you were going to do that. Either you're going to be Neville or Ouachita, but it's tough to play someone a second time.
Yeah, I think so. And in particular, probably more so difficult if you won the first matchup and then you're playing again, particularly in the state championship. I think you have to guard against whether your kid's going to the game with a preconceived notion that, hey, we beat them last time, and, you know, that automatically means we're going to beat them the next time. But I think that our kids listen to what it is that's being said. I mean, I didn't think we particularly played well offensively during that ball game. We left a lot of stuff out there that I felt like that we should have been able to do. But, you know, they probably feel the same thing on the other side of that. And at the end of the day, it was a one-possession ball game. And anytime you play that close with somebody, anybody can win. It's a one-possession game. And something could have gone differently during that ball game that we played earlier in the year. And they could have won. And but, you know, it's tough, in my opinion, both ways, depending on how you approach it and what the kids' feelings about the ball game were.
Let's look at the playoffs, because we opened up with a huge victory over Westgate, 51-13. Southside, the Sharks, 38-28. We trailed at halftime. Zachary, okay, people say, well, you got to have that close game. Is there really anything to that? You want to have a close one because, Southside won by 10. Then Zachary scoring late in the game, about 5:42 when Gray went in for the touchdown. So is there any you're glad, you've been tested, you've got that close game?
You know, I don't know if there's anything to that. I think it does give you an indication of how your kids will react under those circumstances, and I think that's probably the best test about how your kids will deal with the stress of what that looks like. You know, if you had all those scores back up there, you could go back and look at a bunch of the ball games this year that really we had an opportunity at the end for offensively, defensively, or on special teams where we had to execute something at the end of the ball game to win. And so I think that's probably why you say that people say that you need to be tested, but I don't think they know why it is they're saying that. I think they just feel like that's something nice to say. But the thing that you have to find out about your team is when the iron is hot, are you going to be able to get out and execute and do the things necessary to win the ball game? And I tell our kids all the time, the teams that can execute at the end of the ball game, whether you're trying to make a 2-minute drive at the end of the game on offense or whether you're trying to make a 4-minute drive and finish running the clock out on offense, or whether you're trying to defensively stop somebody in a 2-minute situation, or get the ball back in a 4-minute situation, or execute a punt to kick the ball to the other end of the field on special teams, or kick a field goal at the end of the game. You have to find out whether your kids can do those things under a stressful situation in order to win ball games. And this group here probably has been tested more than any other group that I can remember, in the way of we've had to do some things on offense, defense, and special teams, sometimes all three groups in the same game, that we've needed to make a drive, get the ball scored, stop a team, make an extra point, whatever the case is, to win, and these kids have done that.
Well, that's what I was saying, because if you ever brag on anybody, it'll be the first time. So I'm going to brag on you. I think that really you look at the time. How many years have you been head coach?
This was my 9th.
Okay, I'm going to say in the 9 years that you've been head coach, this is because of the results, going to play for the state championship, probably your best job of coaching. And I think there's been more scheming this year than in the past. Am I right or am I wrong?
I feel like I try to do the best job I can coaching every year. There's different terms of coaching. Sometimes when you've got a very talented team, sometimes what you need to do is manage all of that, and there's not necessarily some tinkering with things that you have to do. Sometimes you're less talented and you have to modify some things that you do. I think there's different forms of that. Sometimes it's more of a manager, sometimes it's more of a coach, sometimes it's more of other things. I think, to me, the biggest thing with coaching is trying to figure out what makes this team tick. They're all different in a lot of different ways, and what can make this team the most successful. How can we push them to be the most successful that they can be? And really, I think you feel like this has been the best job that I've done coaching. Coach, you sold us short before the season started by telling,
yes,
you thought 4-6 or 6-4 possibly the best, and we exceeded that, and I see that. Like, that's not a hard thing for me to see, is that a lot of people would have thought coming into this year, because we don't have a lot of high-profile recruited kids in the senior class, that everybody thinks that this is going to be a down year. You're trying to replace all of those things, and I see that. The things that people don't see are the things that go on inside of the building, at the field house, in the weight room, in the stands, when those kids are carrying 45-pound plates through the stands, or running 200s during the summer. Everybody else ain't watching that. Like, everybody wants to watch me and you sit up here and do this, or they want to come. Everybody's ready to load up and go to the Superdome. But you know how many people was watching those kids run 200s during the summer? 0. It was hot. And I know what our kids bring to the table when all of that stuff is going on. And so I have the cheat code on what it is that our team, how I feel about our team and how tough those kids are. And this group in particular, the senior group, they've been lowballed the whole time that they've come through junior high. Everybody told them, y'all aren't the most talented group. Y'all are, y'all try hard, and y'all are all of that. And they pat them on the back and tell them, like, it's going to be okay, and all of that. And all they have done is just get in there and go to work every day. And that's the part that I appreciate about those kids is, really everybody kind of said that. And I put it on you, but everybody has said, all along since all those kids graduated that move on and go play college football, if you don't have those guys, that's whenever everybody thinks, well, you're not going to be very good just because you're not being recruited. High school football ain't judged off of who's going to college to go play at LSU or Tulane or wherever it is that everybody else goes. Now, does it make your job easier as a coach to be able to have those guys on your team? At times it does. But really what you need is a group of guys that's willing to go to work every day and do what they're asked to do. And like be good teammates. And
okay, I'm going to interrupt you again because I'm going to interrupt you again. Okay, a couple of things because you're not an emotional guy, but doesn't that make it more fun to coach? I mean, you have guys that, hey, nobody wants you to come play for 4 years for us. Nobody wants you here and there, and it's just like a bunch of blue-collar guys going to work every day.
Yeah, that tugs on me a little bit because I feel like that's what I was. I feel like that was really my MO. Like I felt like I was a tough kid. I was a hard worker. I did have an opportunity to go play at Southern Arkansas or Arkansas Monticello or whatever.
You've been a great bowl
and I don't know, what it amounts to play ball there, but I decided not to. And at the end of the day, there ain't anything wrong. There's zero things wrong with being a good high school football player and leaving it at that and graduating and going on being successful doing what it is that you want to do. I mean, and everybody in this world nowadays, everybody wants to be the Division I player and all that kind of stuff, and all that stuff looks good on Twitter and everything else that everybody wants to put out there. But there ain't anything wrong with being a good high school football player or good athlete, period, in high school, being a good teammate and helping your team as best you can and being a good teammate.
Okay, I tossed you a softball and you knocked it out of the park. Now I'm going to ask you a tough question.
Okay.
How have you evolved as a coach in the 9 years? What is different now about Jerrod Baugh in year 9 than year 1?
There were a lot of years where I thought the X's and O's part of it were the trick to winning ball games. And, of course, me being on the offensive side of the ball most of my career, I always felt like I could pencil whip a lot of people on how it is. We need to line up here and do this, and we got this route, we can beat them on this and all of that. And those things are important. But what I have figured out, if you're going to be successful in the long run, your kids have to believe in what it is that you do. And at the end of the day, to me, it don't matter what offense you line up in, what defense you line up in, or what you do on special teams. If your kids believe that it'll work, it will work. I've said, like, hey, look, I may be teaching them the wrong way to do this, but if we all doing it wrong, something good's going to come out of it if they'll just believe that that's what's going to happen. And I think that's really what has changed my thinking on it. That's the reason that I've been able to turn loose, call plays for all these years and all of that on offense, and I've been able to turn loose of that because, and again, it's not that it's not important. I feel like my job as the head coach is more important to manage all of those things rather than necessarily the X's and O's and what play gets called and all of that kind of stuff. Not to say that I don't interject in there sometimes, but I think it's the team chemistry, the camaraderie of the kids, and all of those things to manage that. And to me, winning all of those things and setting up the program the way that it needs to be, that's a big enough job. And let Coach Griffin and Coach Yanez do the offense defense. Okay,
we're down by 1. You want to go for a 2-point conversion to win a game. You're going to tell it to Chubb and say, here you go, this is what I want to call. You're going to come in and make the call. Like as a head coach, and then you give up the offensive play calls. Like when you talk about interject, like when would you interject? Like, hey, we need to run XJC 96 fly. Yeah. Like if that's a play. I mean, it's like
yeah.
So 2-point conversions. Who calls the 2-point conversions?
All of us do. There's situations where, the other night on the 4th down play, we were trying to figure out what it is we were going to do, and it was a community situation amongst the offensive coaches. I try not to get in the way too much because I have been an offensive coordinator, and you hear all of those things, and everybody's got all these ideas. But at the end of the day, somebody's got to pull the trigger on something, and I try to leave it up to them. Now, there are times if I feel like I see something in particular, then I'll throw it out there, but I throw it out at a time beforehand, not under that circumstance. So, yeah, if there's a 2-point play that I see and I feel like that this is the one that we need to go to, then that's what we'll do under that circumstance, not actually while that's in motion. That may take place during the week of preparation. Like, hey, if we get to a 2-point situation, I like this. We really need to run that. It's not in the heat of the moment. That's the worst time to try to come up with all these ideas, because if you're getting all these ideas, that stirs your mind up and you're not able to really do what it is that we need to get done.
Yeah, that's probably when they came up with me. That's why I wasn't a more successful coach. But okay, I'll give you this.
But I think, and not to interrupt you, but
we're two.
I think mainly the thing that most people like to do is to second guess somebody after they've already made the call, and I think that's where a lot of people,
I'm good at that.
Yeah.
I second guess you quite a bit. All right, I want to go with this. Okay, so it's 4th and 8. They double team, triple team Ahmad. They're going to take him out of the game. Who called the 4th and 8 play? And Alex Hunt goes out and picks up 9 yards. So like he's just the open receiver. Sam found him. So what was the call?
So it was a pass concept, and Sam's completely. He's open to throw the ball to anybody. There's not any plays that we set up necessarily to, hey, this is a shot to them. And there are those. I'm not going to say that there's not. But, it was a pass concept. Sam saw what he saw and made the throw. Could have been the biggest play in that ball game to be able to pick up that first down. And, the thing is like we continue to work all of those things, and I think that a lot of teams have this misconception about like what we do offensively is we just turn around and throw the ball in the throwing game to the 6'8" kid that nobody can cover, I guess, but that's not what we do. We go through a process of what it is that needs to happen, and Sam does a good job operating our offense in that way. And that's how those things lend itself to where somebody like Alex can make that play.
All right, I'm going to go with that because Sam got banged up the other night. As a head coach, you're watching your quarterback out there, and he's limping around. At what point do you say, okay, is he going to be able to play through? Take us through that, your thought process on that.
The first thought process is like Sam needs to get over it. He needs to get on back out there and get going is the first thing. But, the next thing is like what are we going to do? And Coach Garvin does a good job with our quarterbacks on knowing who's the next person in line. And we work Peyton Nations works there, and Tyler Osborne, and then Aiden Adams also rotates in there. And there's a variety of guys that we have available that we feel are very capable to do that whenever that time arises. But the first thing is to try to push him back in there to get back going, and which I guess we had the game. I can't remember when it was. They took him out because he had some blood running down his leg and had to get him out. But, those things come up, and those guys have to be ready to get in.
I wonder about that because that was Peyton Nations. I'm sure you probably told him just don't fumble. We're going to take a break here live from the Sundown Tavern. Ruston Bearcats live with the head coach, Jerrod Baugh. We'll be right back after this break.
Firmly founded in 1936, Pierce Lumber has been your go-to for quality building parts in Ruston and North Louisiana. Located on 1032 Burgessville Road, we carry tools from DeWalt, Milwaukee, Senco, and Ego Power Tools. We're your home for locally sourced lumber and quality building parts. As well as being your local supplier for Benjamin Moore Paint, we offer delivery of our products from our door to yours. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and remember, if you're making it, make it with Pierce Lumber.
First Ruston invites you to join them on Sundays at 8:30, 9:45, or 11 a.m. We offer kids worship at all 3 services. On Wednesday nights, students meet at the Powerhouse. Middle school students at 5:30, high school students at 6:45. Our mission is to help you find God's plan for your life in a fun, friendly, encouraging environment. For more church info or to watch our services online, we invite you to visit fbcruston.org. We're saving a seat for you at First.
We're the best at Next. Why? Because for 120 years and counting, helping you reach your next milestone is what we do best. At Century Next Bank, we offer tailored solutions for what's next in your life. From personal checking accounts, to home loans, to small business growth. We're focused on your next step forward. Your dreams don't wait, and neither should your bank, because you deserve a partner who knows how to handle next. Century Next Bank, what's next for you? Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Murphy, and welcome to Tip of the Week. Do you have a dead battery? We've got the power to keep you moving. At Walpole Tire and Service, we're proud to be your local interstate battery dealer, offering America's #1 replacement battery, trusted for performance and reliability. Whether it's your car, truck, or ATV, we've got you covered. Come experience the difference today at Walpole Tire and Service in either Ruston or West Monroe.
Bayou Kubota is a proud sponsor of Bearcat football and a loyal member of the Bearcat Football Club. Visit Bayou Kubota for all your tractor and farm equipment needs. Bayou Kubota, service with a purpose in Ruston, Bossier City, and Monroe.
Head coach Jerrod Baugh. And coach, look at it, the Ouachita Lions. I'll say the biggest involvement is been in the past 9 years. You couldn't talk for 15 minutes. You didn't want to talk for 15 minutes. Now you talk for 60 minutes, and now you go through. I know that one of the things you go back, there are a lot of losses that you don't get over. And I don't know as a head coach, but as a radio guy, when your son's on the team, I'm not over the 23 state championship loss to Destrehan, and that's one that I just don't know if I'll ever get over. I'm not over Auburn losing to Florida State in the national championship. But you go through that. You've had to make a decision because of a 12 o'clock kick. One thing that you've done in the past, you've not traveled down the night before, but now you have to do that. How uncomfortable does that make you, and what are you doing different with this trip?
Well, I don't know that it makes me uncomfortable. I would rather not stay. I think the best plan is for kids to go home and sleep in their own bed and then get up the next day and travel to the ball game. It's less to try to keep up with as far as the coaching deal is concerned. But I knew with a 12 o'clock kickoff there was no way to manage that, to try to ask kids to get on a bus at 4 a.m. and think they're going to have any juice left by noon whenever you get down there to play a game. So I guess maybe I feel like maybe the mistake that we made the first time that we did and stayed the night was going all the way into New Orleans and staying right there. And probably should have stopped short. And so that's what we've chosen to do now. And so we're going to stay in Hammond and stay the night there. And we'll do a walkthrough on Saturday morning at Southeastern, which our kids are very familiar with. We've been there periodically through the years to stop in there and do a walkthrough anytime we're in that area. Coach Frank Selfo, which used to be the offensive coordinator here years ago at Tech, has always been really helpful for us to stop in and do anything we need to do there. But we're going to walk through there on Saturday morning, and then we'll headed towards New Orleans about 8:30 and should get there at 9:30 when they're going to let us in the Superdome. And then it'll all happen pretty fast for the kids. It's always a pretty quick deal. But to me, I think the travel time from Hammond to there will let the kids kind of catch their breath, along with getting some anxiousness going probably to get off the bus and all that kind of stuff. But our kids should be kind of used to that. You know, we're leaving later on in the evening on Friday. You know, there ain't going to be anything to do whenever we get to Hammond besides get you Bojangles sandwich and go to your room and eat that and go to bed. So, you know, I think the first time that we did that trip, I was trying to do a lot of different things and trying to get kids acquainted with being in an indoor facility, and we did all of those things, and I think it served its purpose. But I think by the time the game came, we were kind of worn out on the trip because it ended up just being a long set of things that they had to do, and the main part of what it is that we're going to get done is the ball game on this trip.
All right, I'm going to say this, and I don't mean this negative in any way, but I think that loss to Destrehan in that year one has made you a better coach as far as what you need to do to go to the Dome.
It has, and the thing is that, I still feel like that I needed to do some of those things going into that. We had a lot of our kids that had not ever been inside the Superdome, period. And so I felt like it was an important thing for all those kids to at least get in the building before you run out there and you're on the field fixed to get ready to play. And so, we went and watched OCS was playing the night before, so I took them in there at least to get in the building, to look around, and they had a chance to look at everything before we actually were in there fixed to play a game. I don't think that it would have been fair to that group to not take them ahead of time, and then the first time that they run out over there in the Superdome is you run it out on the turf, and then you're looking around and there's a lot of stuff to look at, much less play a football game. So I do think that, there was a reason behind that, and I don't know that if I had to go back and change that I would change a lot about what it is we did. We had opportunities to win that football game, and we didn't get it done. At the end, I think we had some things to happen. We had a lot of mistakes early on. I don't think we
don't give her another shot, but they were holding on that last play. It was tied at 10-10, and they ran that in. They were holding on that play.
Well, we had a lot of miscues early in the ball game, strictly behind some nerves and strictly behind I don't think maybe – the only thing I didn't do was prepare our football team enough with the noise, the amount of stuff that you cannot hear whenever you're out there. And there's a humming sound. There's like just a deal that's hard to describe about what it sounds like whenever you're out there. But you can't hear coaches saying anything and all of that. And I didn't do a very good job during the week of giving our kids enough stuff to distract them to be able to hone into what it is they needed to listen to on offense and defense. And that would be the biggest thing, I guess, that I would have changed if I could go back and do that again.
Have you talked to Benji this week, and were you surprised at the low? I know you're not surprised that Ouachita won the game, but are you surprised at the low score of 14-7?
No, they're very good on defense. I mean, it starts with a big boy inside, the Berryman kid. I don't think he's chosen where it is he's going to go to school. He's hard to handle whenever he's getting ready to get after it. Neville's really good on defense too, and so it ended up being a defensive battle. And I know, nowadays everybody feels like a 14-7 ball game is a crap rotten game to watch, but 14-7 ain't no different to me than 42-35. It's a 7-point ball game, and it don't make any difference how you end up with the points that you end up with. They're good on defense. We won 21-14 the last time, and I'll take that again. I'll take 2-0 if that's what it ends up in the state championship. It don't make me any difference.
Well, Coach, your team is healthy. You're headed down to the Dome. Man, congratulations. 4 straight years in the Dome. And I remember now, I remind our listeners this all the time. You got the job, and we went to the worst Mexican restaurant, the only Mexican restaurant.
Is that the part that you want to keep talking about?
Yeah. The only Mexican restaurant in the history of Ruston to go out of business. That's where we went to lunch. And you told me, you said if you couldn't win a state championship, you wouldn't take the job. And you have delivered. Congratulations on your 4th straight trip to the Dome.
Well, I appreciate that. And, the thing is that we've talked about is we sure want to finish it off. I think that is the right thing to do. And I think these kids are geared towards that. I think, the way that it ended up last year, everybody had a sour taste in their mouth behind that. And I still had one. I still got one. And I want to try to get rid of it. It ain't going to make last year better. But I'll sure chew it up a little bit better if we can win one tomorrow.
Well, when I told you that I wanted to put a picture on the board, I was going to put the scoreboard up, but I didn't have the nerve to send you that. All right, I have a theory on that. Maybe it's for off the air, but I have a theory that we watched how Central and Neville played, and we thought that was just one that was surprising. We'll move on and past that moment. That's when we're just a do-over.
Well, yeah, you don't have to do that. because I haven't moved past it. It's still one of those things. I haven't moved past the Destrehan ball game.
Oh, I'm not past that one at all.
That's still one of those things that I feel like we left some things on the table. And
we were the better team. We were the better team. I'm just going to tell you, we were better than Destrehan. They held on that play when they scored on the touchdown. And you go through.
I'm going to have to tell you, like I tell the kids, is the better team don't always have to win. I mean, you got to go out there and perform, and you have to do the things necessary to win the ball game. And if you don't, then the other team wins. And that's the thing. Like both teams have to show up. Both teams have to execute and do the things necessary to win the ball game, and that's why you have to go out there and play it. And just because on paper and all the paper pushers and pencil guys can tell you who they think's going to win and all of that stuff, at the end of the day, you have to go out there and show that and have to perform the way that you're supposed to perform. And I think these kids realize that, especially after the way last year went.
Do you put more pressure on yourself because of the way last year went?
I put more pressure on myself than anybody could ever put on me about anything that it is that I do. I still feel like I'm trying to earn my way in this business about what it is that I'm supposed to accomplish. I still feel like that I'm trying to earn my way in the guys that's been the head coach here at Ruston before me. And I show up to work every day to work as hard as I can to try to keep this football program to where it is that everybody expects it to be. And there ain't nobody that can come in my office and put any more heat on me than me. And that's how I show up on a daily basis.
All right, that's a good way to end the show. We're talking with Jerrod Baugh, Ruston Bearcats live from the Sundown Tavern. Appreciate all of you who have been a part of this show. And good luck to the Ruston Bearcats as they take on the Ouachita Lions. Kickoff 12 o'clock Saturday. You can listen on Q94. Appreciate you supporting us. Thank you.